Oh my god, I have to breathe. Yeah, YouTube makes you jump through a few hoops to actually start the stream, and I forgot. Welcome back. You're not hearing things? You're not? You should be hearing things, to be honest. Because, like, this says that you should be hearing things. Are you hearing me now? Okay, you have audio. So the Bionicle Lawmaster lied to me. What kind of a Lawmaster are you if you lie to your constituency? What is a Lawmaster's constituency? Is it a constituency? Welcome back to, well, welcome to Fast Food Theory 5? I actually named the stream Fast Food Theory instead of Thursday for some reason that I don't understand. See, I was thinking a couple of minutes ago about this new data protection law, right? It requires you in Europe, which is, you know, as good as it is that it exists, it's also vastly overreaching and unrealistic to actually, you know, work. Yeah, if you have a data storage system, right? You need to give people a waiver that they have to sign, like a privacy statement. However, the brain is also a system that does that. I mean, the brain is essentially just an organic supercomputer. And if you had, I mean, you do remember people that you see, and you remember things about them. You remember their name. You remember all kinds of facts that they tell you. And sometimes you infer information, much like the algorithms of Facebook do, right? So does that also count as a system? Is everyone that you meet, do you need to give them like a privacy statement? Because you also have cameras in here. You know, they're better than any camera that's ever been developed. I mean, the data storage system is low fidelity at times. But what happens if you have a photographic memory, right? And then conversely, if you say no, and I build a brain, like I simulate a brain, right? A person. Does that also count as a person and thus does not have to sign, not have to hand out these waivers to everyone? Or is it different merely because the hardware that it runs on is not bioelectric, but silicon based, right? It's a difficult question, man. Well, Jesus. Yeah, hi. I was just eating fast food the other minute. Actually, I'm late because I was having a debate with Cal Molyneux, who was an anarcho-capitalist and, like, honestly, a super nice guy, man. I really like him. The debate is gonna be up on the channel soon, and also on his channel, and then you're gonna be able to check him out, and also me. Yeah, and then I wanted to get some food with my girlfriend today anyway. So, I just decided I'm going to push back the live stream for an hour. And also, I'm just going to stream for an hour today because I want to test out if that does better, you know? Because it just might. I'm still, some of you might know this, I was having issues with the, I have a working theory that the fact that people don't watch 100% of these live streams is interfering with how my content is pushed, because obviously not everyone has the time or the nerve to watch 2 hours of live stream. And though they do provide a lot of watch minutes, even though not many people view them, like they're you know, an average amount of watch minutes, even though they get like a fraction of the views that my other videos get, because obviously they're 2 hours long, it might do something with the algorithm, which, you know, nobody knows, because nobody knows how the fucking algorithm works, you know? So, yeah. I'm still working this format out. Though, even if I do cut back to like 1 hour, I will probably do some longer streams on special occasions, like if I have guests and shit like that. What do you think about Maoism? Well, honestly, I couldn't tell you much about Maoism specifically. I know that Mao and I have the same personality type. Your camera's micro and sectile sensor, approximate accelerometer data, ambient temperature sensors, etc. Exactly, right? If anarchism is so bad, why is the best non-legendary pistol in Borderlands named the Anarchist? Borderlands 2. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think statism debunked, to be honest. Actually, I have sunk like 70 hours into Borderlands 2 and I'm still not through with the DLCs. It's such a huge game. The Kumquat has arrived. Do you have sauerkraut in your lid? I haven't eaten sauerkraut in years, man. I need to eat some sauerkraut. Like, it's actually been years since the last... Oh, Jesus Christ. You're making me... You're not making me hungry. I had this beautiful burger. It was... They didn't take the vegetarian option, because I usually do with this specific burger. It's like it's got like goat cheese and fucking like a little bit of marmalade on it, and I also got some crispy chicken on it. It was amazing. Oh. Yeah. Anarcho-capitalism is not a cuck ideology. You are a meanie. It is a cuck ideology. Like, the only reason I say this is because it triggers ANCAPs extremely, because I have found that a lot of, like, the internet ANCAPs that comment on videos and, like, let's just say they don't know much about it, but also some ANCAPs that know a lot about it and that are really ardent about it. They get really triggered when you attack their masculinity because they think they're very masculine because they're so self-sufficient. And that's fun. So that's what I do. The DLCs are extremely extensive. It's absolutely lovely, man. Actually, Borderlands 1 and 2, I didn't really play 1 much. But Borderlands 2, I started playing Borderlands, the pre-sequel, but it's so vast, man. I don't even have the time, but it's huge fun. It said live stream disabled for this stream, but I refreshed it and it worked. What do you mean live stream disabled for this stream? You mean chat disabled for this stream? Because I know that it was. I checked the stream page and I saw that the chat was disabled. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I unlocked it. Because for some reason it was locked. YouTube had just by default not opened it, which is not, you know, not how I like to fucking handle this in an audience interaction show. You know what I'm saying? It's like about the idea of a sort of constant struggle of things that are opposite to each other, like the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Well, that's basically, you know, communism, isn't it? To loose the burghers of war. I'm really fucking noodled right now because I got up very early today because yesterday I noticed, oh shit, you've got therapy tomorrow. Early in the morning. And yeah, so it was a very tough day today. Excuse me if I seem a little bit, you know, not here sometimes. What if the child consents? Well, then it's Islam, innit? Opinion on the concept of civic nationalism. The problem with the concept of civic nationalism is that nobody seems to be able to agree what that actually is. And everyone has like a slightly different definition. And no matter what you say about it, someone will go, oh, but that's not actually what civic nationalism is. And so that's, you know, unless you explain yourself a little more, I won't probably be able to talk about that properly. And my wife's son thinks ANCAPs are manly. He might. What do you think of this concept? An elite trained religiously since birth to be extremely altruistic and to rule a nation / the world. Does it sound like a good idea? A person, right? Like a person. Because that would sort of take away their individual rights to self-expression, wouldn't it? If you trained a person to be, if you like indoctrinated them to be altruistic from the very beginning, which might not even work. But if, let's say that you would be able to do it in a way that would work. As a matter of principle, that would be a person that had never decided to be extremely indoctrinated that way, right? even we are in a sort of shit school systems from time to time and also indoctrinated by certain elements, we still have a certain, especially through the internet and through the ability to talk with other people, we can sort of find ourselves as persons. And I think that if you did something like this, it might work as a form of government, but it would be immoral toward the person that would be the leader of the government. So, you know. Stream Borderlands on your Twitch. That's actually something that I just considered. I might do that. I might actually play through Borderlands the pre-sequel. The problem is that it's, you know, they're pretty old at this point. What's on the menu today? I don't know, you decide. Goodbye, I'm afraid I'm gonna fap now, I'll watch tomorrow. Well, have fun, I suppose? Well, no, just have fun, you know. Yellow Cheese has added me to their Steam friends list. What, do you want to play Bionicle with me? Notice me, mein Kaiser. I've already noticed you, James. We've been talking a lot. Let's play it. What if it? I am confused right now, but I think that's not a problem. Service guarantees citizenship. See, in the Foreign Legion, that's not even the case. Being hurt in the Foreign Legion guarantees citizenship, but if you serve in the Foreign Legion, you're not guaranteed French citizenship, which is, you know, odd. Oh, the English Pepe has arrived. Get a kebab. No, I actually said that I got an actual burger today. And I, you know, probably won't be eating much more fast food on stream in the future. Bionicle, Jesus Christ, you can't, listen, you can't, I have a personal distaste for crossovers. I don't like them. I don't think they should be a thing. I mean, they should be a thing because if people enjoy them, right? But I don't like them at all. I think crossovers are, for the vast majority of situations, unless they're played for like jokes, you might as well just make a new thing out of it, right? So, no crossovers. Crossovers are now illegal. What's your favorite Bionicle? I'm not a Bionicle fan. Like, I had a Bionicle. Actually, I think I had two Bionicles. I think I had the little grey one, and I had the brown Borok. They're called Borok, right? I don't think... I think that I had one of the big ones as well. I think I had the white one, but I don't actually know. Have you ever more thoughts about the grind regarding boomers at the workplace? I find myself finishing my job earlier, and the workplace people has the behavior of just delaying to just follow. I'm not exactly. Oh yeah. So you just follow what you have to do to the letter. Well, that's because you don't like your business, right? You don't love the business that you work in, and that's fine. For you, because it's not. Nobody can expect you to love a business and dedicate yourself to a business and a corporation that they don't do anything for you, right? This sort of, you have to go in there and you have to act like it's a family business and like you're part of a family and you have to work hard for that. It doesn't work if there's always the chance that you're going to be kicked out after like 2 months if, you know, the boss just decides, I don't want him anymore. And if, you know, if you're completely disposable and you have no feeling like there's a place for you there, obviously then there's never a feeling of love and you're never going to go the extra mile for that company. This is why it is actually smart to sort of do shit for your workers, right? And cultivate a friendly and familial relationship with the people you work with. Drab cubicles reduce productivity. I mean, this is demonstrable. The only reason that we still use that, and many corporations, especially like corporations that employ sort of extremely high capacity people, like extremely highly qualified people, like all these tech giants. I mean, there's a reason why they have sort of these corners with beanbag chairs, right? And they have games rooms and shit. It's because you want people to feel at home there. Because if they feel at home there and if they feel comfortable there, they'll be more willing to go the extra mile. and they'll be more at ease with their co-workers, which increases teamwork. Teamwork is always good. I mean, there's fucking games companies where people just play video games for the entire day, and then the next day they go back to programming, right? That happens because it's work shouldn't, like, really like high gear work shouldn't feel like work. And you have to do your best to make it not feel like that as an employer, I feel like. And if you do that, people will actually work harder because they will enjoy the work more. Unless they're, instead of, you know, just feeling like you're trying to get their labor and then get them out as quickly as possible. And, like, a lot of big companies understand this now. Have you looked more into Patreon? What kind of rewards do you think? Oh yeah, I'm gonna list down the rewards I have, like the current working theory. Because in case you don't, like, I found out that, after a long research, I found out that my reason for boycotting Patreon has been nil for years. Because I was boycotting Patreon because they weren't paying back people over a guy whose account they closed down, right? It pisses me off that they closed his account down still. But the thing that really drove me over the edge is that they weren't paying back his patrons. But apparently they did. And they did so a while ago. So, and because I don't like doing this, I still feel like I'm going back on my word a little bit. But on the other hand, I also need to eat food. You know, that's one of the things that I really enjoy is food and having a roof over my head. And I look, for example, at Lewis, right? And he has like 2,000 subscribers more than me, and he makes almost $300 per video, right? That's pretty insane. So I will be using Patreon in conjunction with Maker Support, and the rewards will be the same on both platforms. So whatever one you like best, you can use. And the tiers will be that the a patron tier, that is $1 per month. You are a patron now and nobody can claim otherwise. Thus you will receive the appropriate role on my Discord server. Then you have the $5 per month role, which is solid patron. A $5 a month is good money, and your name will be placed at the end of each of my videos to make sure everybody knows it. Then you have the nice patron, which is at $10. You will receive the Grand Patron role on the Discord server, which is just like the regular patron role, except better. Then you have the very nice patron role, which is $20 per month. On the first Fast Food Thursday of each month, I will get all patrons of this tier and above together as guests, and we will do like a public hangout type situation. Probably that's going to be the one that lasts 2 hours then. Then you have the Ultra Patron, which I don't expect anyone to be getting. Not only do you get a unique custom role on the Discord, but your name is also listed before everyone else's at the end of videos and also highlighted. And then you have the Supreme Patron, which I really don't think anyone's going to get. That's only 6 slots there. It's once a year I will write a short story inspired by you. You might suggest a character, such as yourself, a picture, a phrase, whatever you want. While I will retain ultimate creative control, you will get first dibs on reading the story and/or listening to the audio version of it. And I am always open to suggestions. So I'm also working on a merchandising store with like a legit artist. And I will because it's really important to me that when people, I don't like it when I see YouTubers merch stores and they have like a t-shirt that's just a funny line that they said that's like a meme. I get why people would want that, but I would never even consider spending money on something like that. This is why I basically only buy Drunken Peasants shirts, because they have extremely nice artwork on them. You know, not all of them, but a lot of them do. Where the fuck is my Dino shirt? I have a Dino shirt. A lot of those Drunken Peasant shirts seem to have disappeared from my laundry lately. Where did you get that chair? With fucking IKEA, innit? Do you have an opinion on the potential reunification of the Korean Peninsula? You mean like, will it work? I mean, let's just assume that it works and they say we're now reunified, hopefully under South Korea, 100% under South Korea, okay? I think it is going to be a similar situation that we have with East Germany. It's going to be a very difficult project. But I think it will be doable because South Korea is generally a politically sound nation. So that's pretty good. If it's gonna happen, that's a different question that I couldn't even begin to answer because I don't know. It's that, I mean, that political situation is so incredibly complex. Do you think there is an agenda to bring about state control over reproduction, licenses for kids, etc., which will be sold as for population control, but really used to implement full-scale eugenics? So, people always talk about overpopulation like it's a problem. And it's not. I mean, especially they talk about overpopulation like it's a problem when it comes to, like, discussions over immortality. But historically speaking, we have always been able to raise our, the cap of our ecological niche. Even with our limited and fairly slow technological development at the time, right? So even if you do get immortal people, that's just the population will, of course, you know, increase faster, but it's not so fast that it will be a problem. Plus, if you get to the point where you can actually rejuvenate them, you can then reintroduce them into the workforce as people who will be incredibly qualified in their fields. Or just incredible jacks of all trades that can basically fill any role, right? Maybe they will even try to do, like, shit jobs because they've done all the good ones and they want to experience a new thing, so... going back to my original question, wait. How would I convince some long-time D&D players to try out the Open Legend RPG system? That's a question. Have you tried convincing them and have they said no? And if yes, what have they said the reason is for that? Going back to my original question, assuming it does work, would it really be immoral to sacrifice a handful of individuals for the greater good? The problem with this is that you can't make it might be sometime. Like, for instance, if it's like, okay, you kill these 5 people or all human beings in the entire world die forever. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna swallow the pill, okay? But, and by swallow the pill, I mean kill 5 people. But generally speaking, that's a bit of a slippery, because what is the greater good and what is a handful of individuals? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I think always needs to be determined on a case-by-case basis, and generally I would say no. Have you had any luck in your quest to become more gay? I have not, unfortunately. I've tried, you know, but it's not. The thing is, people have suggested traps, right? And I think the thing with many people is that when they jerk off to traps or when they fuck traps, it's like they don't mind the penis. I do mind the penis. I don't like penises. And that is why I'm not gay. And it irritates me. You wouldn't be a fan of Bionic Pig's shirt. I don't even know who that is. I think it would be great to add once a week 30-minute Skype call to the Patreon rewards. I've seen it be a successful way to get more patrons on other channels. You know, I don't want to make that. Once a week for I'm really I already work like 8 to 12 hours a day. I know I say this all the time, but I do. And depending on how many people, like, I don't think half an hour talking with me is worth, like, $100. I don't think that that's worth it, you know what I'm saying? I might do it on like a monthly basis and then like a little bit longer and make it maybe like a $75 patron perk. That's actually a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. Thank you very much. $75. Call once a month. Thank you. Yeah, I might implement that. The question that has divided mankind since the dawn of civilization: ass or titties? Oh God. Both. Jesus. I would like to thank you for checking out Brandon Sanderson. Some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Yeah, no problem, man. Brandon Sanderson is really good. Thank you, Lee Wilson, for the £2. £2 are actually very valuable because the pound is a very valuable currency. And also he asks, hey Burger, not staying long. I think you're excellent. You provide quality content. Let me get my debit card and throw you some money, my dude. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. That's really cool. Jesus. I think the issue is not overpopulation, it's how people are distributed through land. Not really, because here's something that's extremely counterintuitive. If you live in a city, your ecological footprint gets significantly smaller because you require less land to live, right? Less of an area to live on. Because, like, okay, so my apartment has, I don't know, like a little under 50 square meters, right? Which is, it's sizable, right? But this is not country 50 square meters, right? This is city 50 square meters. So these same 50 square meters, there's 3 people above me who also live on the same 50 square meters. And depending on how you stack houses, right? You can have like a skyscraper with fucking 50 stories, right? And it's like, I don't know, 500 square meters wide, but like you multiply that by 50, right? So you have that. You have much shorter, when you live in the country, often you'll take the car to go buy groceries. In the city, you're probably going to take the bus. If you live in the city, probably you're going to take the bus way more because it's so fucking convenient. I mean, you know, unless you live in America, because America doesn't know how to public transportation. You're going to use much more like a public transportation, which is great for the environment. The groceries don't have to be driven out to like a remote location. You can, you know, collect the farms around the city, and then they just have to drive that shit in, and not out into like some mountain village. So they have all the luxury groceries that people in the city also get. Generally speaking, living in the city is much better for the environment. So we need more people to go into cities, but that also means we need to think about cities differently. We need to make cities greener. We need to make cities more livable, because at this point for many people, cities lack the communal aspect that many people crave. And that is something that needs to be established. Probably by creating more of a neighborhood spirit and creating the correct facilities to enable such a thing to happen. Because the great thing in the city is if you are someone who doesn't want anything to do with anyone, or if you just want to choose the people that you have something to do with, it's good for you. But then also it's good for the people who want to be in like a town atmosphere, because you can have the town atmosphere even though you live in a city. Yeah, drain the Mediterranean, colonize it with Germans. Please, no. What's the power bill like in Germany? It's pretty cheap. Build a wall over the Strait of Gibraltar and make Africa pay... You know, global warming, right? Could, technically speaking, if you had like an alliance of Mediterranean nations, right? And they went, hey, how about we build a huge dam over the Strait of Gibraltar? They could probably collectively bring up enough money to make that happen, right? And then, you know, also you'd have to make some minor alterations to the Suez Canal. And basically, they wouldn't be affected by global warming at all. Right? That's pretty good. That's just an idea that I had at some point. A genuine question. What language do you prefer to write in and why? English. Do you translate the works at all when you make them? No, I only write in English because I find German to be a phenomenally awkward language. Especially if you're talking about, like, fantasy fiction, science fiction. I don't know, I'm not, even in conversationally, I often find German to be extremely awkward. When I speak English, I feel like I am a lot more confident. Which of course might just be a psychological effect of removal, because there's like a layer of removal. I can have a different, I mean, it is true that if you speak a different language, also you act in a, it's also a slightly different identity, right? So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I like English more. I'm sorry if I'm going to skip a lot of questions. You know, if you had a choice between being executed or 10 strangers being executed, but you get to live, which would you choose? I would say me getting executed, but I would probably, if faced with that situation, I'd probably choose the 10 strangers, because let's be honest, I'm not a fucking saint. I am as afraid to die as the next guy, probably even more so. So, you know, I would claim to be the moral person, but I'm really not, I think, when faced with that situation. But I did answer your question, Lee. Eat pot brownies on stream, no balls. I mean, I have pot brownies in my freezer, but I'm not gonna. Because, like, honestly, fucking, they take at least an hour to do anything. Also, I think it would be against YouTube guidelines if I did pot brownies on stream, let's be honest. They say that D&D 5e can have many different settings and concepts like Open Legend, and the fun is change rules around and working on the rules of the system. You have rules players. They don't actually give a shit about the flavor for the most part. They just want to have the autism part of it. Are you the GM of that group? Because if you're the GM of that group, you can just say, we're going to play Open Legend now, motherfuckers. Because it's your table and it's your right to do that. The whole, this is something that many people didn't take away properly from the D&D video, because a lot of people said, but it's not true what you're saying. You can change the D&D system to incorporate many different settings. And I never said you didn't. My whole argument the whole time was, it's not worth it. You might as well just be playing a different system at that point. So why not do that? Why you have to stay with D&D? That was my argument. But if it's your group, you can just say, you know, this is, we're going to play Open Legend now. And then if they then don't like it, then at least they tried it, you know? Jesus, what's going on there with chicken bouillon cube? Trains are more convenient in America because they don't stop every block for trains are not convenient in trains in America are hell. Trains in America are the worst. What are you, fucking high? You need a 3-layer train. Germany has a 3-layer train system, right? It has intercity trains. It also has intercity express trains, but they are intercity trains, which go from city to city. It has regional trains, which service certain regions and skip over most stations. And then it has S-Bahnen, S-trains, which I still don't know what the S stands for, because it certainly doesn't stand for schnell, because they're not schnell, they are slow. They service every fucking station. Like every fucking lone birdhouse they service. And you can always, and that's how you get around fairly easily, because if you want to cover a larger distance, you take one of the S trains, take it to like a larger hub, and you take one of the regional trains, and then you can still take an intercity train. So it's pretty good. Burke's for world president in 2020. Here's the thing: even I would never try to become the world president. I would become the advisor to the world president. I would never want to become the world president. It's way too much fucking work. Draining the Mediterranean would not only make all of South Europe a desert, but the Mediterranean itself would be a barren salt desert. Yeah, and that's going to happen in like, I don't know, 500,000 years, I think. Global warming will be known as terraforming in a few decades, which is practicing at the moment here on Earth. I don't think so. Because terraforming implies that we want to do it. I think we will employ terraforming, or geoforming rather. Because terraforming is forming a planet to be more Earth-like, right? Earth is already, like, pretty Earth-like, I would argue. So I think the technical term for that is geoforming, but I do believe that geoforming will be the way forward to fight climate change. And I will make it... Holy shit. Let me just look into this, right? I recently got an idea for a lot, like a series of class-based videos that I would like, where I want to go system agnostic classes. I have fucking 190 ideas for video scripts in my ideas for video scripts folder. Ridiculous. Fair enough, man. I assumed as much. I guess the English is more forgiving with errors as a description when compared to German. It's a guess. No. It's nothing to do with that. I speak German perfectly. I just like English more. I don't even know why. I couldn't even tell you. I just find German to be awkward. Rogan does it. Yeah, but listen, Rogan is Rogan. Okay? Joe Rogan has fuck you money. I want to have fuck you money. I don't want to be a millionaire. I do want to be a millionaire, but I don't want to be like a ridiculous millionaire. I want to be a fuck you money millionaire. So I can do what I want like Rogan does, right? He's my role model insofar as that he has achieved the absolute dream. That is the absolute dream of my life, not having to worry about money. And being able to pursue the work that I enjoy. But I think that's the dream of pretty much everyone. And I do think that everyone should be able to have that. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen anytime soon. The power bill thing, it's because PragerU just put out a video on renewable energy that make a claim Germans have crazy power bills due to the constant changing of the energies. It's not true. It's just factually incorrect. It's just complete bullshit. We have cheap power bills like everyone else. Like, I don't know, I pay, I have a pretty big Abschlag. I pay a pretty large dividend of, I think, like 50 euros. But at the end of the year, they sort of calculate how much power you actually, you know, used. And so I had a 50 euro dividend that I had to pay for the last year. And I think they returned like 300 euros to me at the end of the year because I had paid for more power than I'd actually used. So, and this I'm actually at like a 100% renewable energy provider. So it's what PragerU says is very often very incorrect. I grow out your nose hair. I also I am growing up my nose hair, man. I've had some decent train rides. Oh yeah, sure, but the fucking whole train system is not good. There was a time I was riding a bus and there was this person sitting next to me and bugs were crawling off him and into me. It was sickening. Onto me. Holy shit, dude, that's disgusting. It shouldn't be like that. What do you think of Canada's pipeline being built? What pipeline being built? Berger is a globalist confirmed. Yeah, I am a globalist. I am a world confederalist. That should be pretty clear at this point. What is the worst sci-fi trope? Oof. I don't think, you know, I'm a 100% adherent to tropes or tools. So I don't know if I can answer that question even, but I don't like teleportation. I enjoy the logistic aspect. Even, I understand that they invented teleportation for, like, TV shows and shit, because it's more convenient in Star Trek if they can just beam them down. But the logistics of landing people on a planet, and, like, the orbital infrastructure and all that, there's so much story potential in there. It's so interesting, right? It's... But then again, I do like... I do like the aspects of sci-fi that are boring. I do like the aspects of fantasy that are boring. I like to understand how, like, I design entire sci-fi legal systems that will never appear in the fucking books because that shit is boring. But they're interesting to me, and so I do that. Once we can move the entire population off of Earth, we should make the entire planet a global nature preserve. We will never move the entire population off Earth. It's never going to happen. Most people, I mean, you know, at some point the population off Earth will probably be bigger than the population on Earth. Might be, might not be. But what was I saying? Yeah, it's never gonna happen. We will probably do like nature preserves in space stations though, which is pretty nice. Can you give us your best oof? Oof! I think that's very close to the original. All right, Berg. If you think that way, what's your opinion on UBI? I really like the concept of UBI. I have seen studies where it's demonstrated that it does work. I've seen studies where it seems that it doesn't. I think that there are a lot of factors that need to be considered. I think it's a field of study that needs to be studied more, obviously. I do believe that it will have to be the future. I don't think it could be introduced today. Even though I wish it could, it probably couldn't. But it's something that we will have to. I mean, we will have to look at government in and of itself and the way that we interact with it, and the role it plays in the economy, in an economy where humans are being replaced. But I think UBI is a very good method of doing that, of accomplishing that. Because the great thing about UBI is that, as opposed to current welfare systems, the problem that the current welfare systems have is that they will often incentivize people to stay on welfare. Because if I don't know, just a random number, I make €1,000 on welfare each month, which you don't make that much. You don't even make anything, you just get it. Right? And I don't have to do anything for it. Why would I get a job where I have to work 8 hours every day and be shouted at by some person who thinks that he's better than me, and I get the same amount of money, if not less, right? Why the fuck should I do that? So that's why a UBI is good, because you get the money, but also if you get a job, that's extra money. So it's always worth it. And you can afford to do, like, bad jobs, right? That's pretty good. Prague, are you lying? Why, I never. You think Sage Rogan can say, fuck you? I think he's as big as he is because he does what no. Why would he do what he is told? All the ventures that he has are his own. I mean, he doesn't have to work for UFC. I mean, told by whom, even? Where did you find, where did the inspiration come from for the name The Burger Krieg? Well, actually, it's just Burger Krieg. I think when I tried to make the YouTube channel, Burger Krieg in and of itself was taken, but I checked today and there's no channel called Burger Krieg. Burger Krieg, this is a very embarrassing story. My very first internet username was Silver G, because, you know, my first name is Gideon. And it's, you know, spelled with a G. So, Silver G. And that's actually also when I was 11 and wanted to become a rapper. And was writing lyrics, which I don't think I have anymore. But I wish I had them, because I'd love to read them to you on screen. But I think I threw that away. I hope. What the fuck am I doing? Yeah, exactly. And I think see, I had my conspiracy board era when I was like 13, but I also had my Minecraft era, and I know that I had I think that I came up with the name Burger Krieg just out of the blue because I thought it was a good joke at the time. When I made my Minecraft account, but I'm pretty sure that my conspiracy board phase was before this. Actually, I think during my conspiracy board phase, I changed my name from Silver G to Nox. And because I used to have my own conspiracy board, this is also very interesting, but they ousted me as the leadership, and they made me like an honorary administrator and shit with basically no rights, because I tried to apply actual scientific theory to like the nut jobs on the forum, and they didn't like that. And eventually, I think Burger Creek became, or was that on different forums? I don't even know, man. Because I did have, like, my forums time. What do you think of voice acting? Well, I do voice acting. I did voice acting for Enderal, the video game, which is actually a Skyrim mod. I am doing voice acting right now for a game called The Spy Who Shot Me, which I will play on stream at some point, and I will probably also do some gameplay on the channel, because, you know, they've paid me for my work, and it's actually a pretty fucking fun game. So if you haven't heard of it, The Spy Who Shot Me, it's on Steam, check it out. It's like a low poly shooter, it's pretty fucking funny. I play several roles in it. And I do audiobooks on my audiobooks channel, Who's Betty? Did you see there were some sonic sound attacks of US diplomats in China similar to the ones that happened in Cuba a while back? I have not heard of that, even when it happened in Cuba. Kalinski's negative income tax seems more viable. I also have heard of negative income tax. I also find that to be a similarly interesting concept. Of course, it has the disadvantage of not encouraging people to get off welfare, though I'm sure that you can do that in a way that it works if you make some undue regulation or something. I mean, it's probably not impossible. Yahtzee Croshaw has a book, We'll Save the Galaxy for Food, which deals with the idea of teleportation and conventional travel. It's a good read for people if you like dry humor. I love Yahtzee, man. He's one of my favorite. He's like basically one of my favorite game critic, really. Well, I think it's going to be a competition between him and Video Game Donkey, because Video Game Donkey knows, as he fucking knows what he's talking about. But Video Game Donkey plays the games that I don't like to play, and he doesn't like to play the games that I do like to play, so, you know. Can you speak English but in a German accent? I can do that, but it always sounds very put on. I don't think that it's very original. But I do know that I have heard people talk like this, so really, it's, you know. What do you think of Crypto Kitties? What? What are some underrated apocalypses in fiction? Nuclear war has been done a million times. Superbugs, maybe. Just global warming, man. One of the things with post-apocalyptic genres is that a lot of them is zombies, and the zombies are boring as shit. I have a literary universe that I work on that I have actually published a short story in before, where it focuses much more on the rebuilding of society like a couple centuries after the apocalypse happened. And you have, I mean, it's still post-apocalyptic, but people, you know, there's a certain economy going, and there's international trade again, and there's like mariners and shit like that. So that's where I should probably put that on the list of things. With I'm gonna open that thing in the back. And holy shit, what's it even called? That whole thing, because I recently upgraded my sorting system for whatchamacallit, fucking Jesus Christ, for short stories, because I realized that I have almost 70 short stories in the works, and I now have a sorting system for them, so I don't lose track of them. Most of them are just not even conceptualized fully, so that's not. Though, when it comes to short stories, I tend to be a discovery writer, as Sanderson puts it, where instead of having like a plot, what the fuck? Where's my post-apocalyptic folder? Am I going? There it is. It's in German. The yellow package, it's called. Yeah. What was I talking about? Yeah, I'm a discovery writer when it comes to short stories, mostly. Not every time. Like the difference between a discovery writer and a plot writer is that a plot writer has a plot in the beginning, and they build from that. And a discovery writer is basically someone that just writes and then discovers the story, and all writers are a combination of the two. So, you know. Post your raps on Who is Betty. I will most definitely not do that. Thoughts on Prison Paul? I mean, he seems like a decent enough dude, right? But, like, the only strength that his arguments have is that he says them with a lot of conviction. I have found that people who title their videos The Truth About X are generally idiots. And while I am subscribed to Prison Paul, most of the time when he just uploads a video, I just roll my eyes and don't watch it. But I suppose he's a nice guy. I don't know. What would you do? Where would you go if you found out that you had cancer and would die in less than a year? Don't make me think about that, man. That's fucked up. I don't want to think about that. That's the kind of shit that keeps me up at night, man. Oh, woman, I think Dakota Tackett. You girl? Not, you know, don't answer that. Or do answer that if you want. I don't give a shit. Do you have any advice for a voice actor to be? I'm working on getting into voice work and would like your input as I'm aiming for a fan piece, then maybe doing some stuff if it works out. There's the best voice work advice that I've ever been given is that you should just talk. Like, because a lot of people think that it's bad when you breathe. And if you hear the breathing on the audio recordings, but if you listen to my audiobooks, you can always hear me breathing. And you should just breathe when, like, you would just talk the story, right? Just breathe normally like you do in conversation. Because the thing is, if you don't, people will feel like there's something off with your recording, and developing a sort of hybrid breathing technique will have you so focused on the process of breathing that a lot of energy in your performance will just be lost. So don't worry about it. Just talk, and it's gonna work out fine. Though that is very much a narration thing, but I think it would work the same for like acting. I think Joe Rogan is an asset. Popular alternative media is very influential. It makes sense to have your people in positions of influence. This is documented to have occurred in MSM. Why not all? But who pays him? Like, the only people who pay him, well, they're basically the people who buy his supplements from his company, the UFC for his commentary jobs, and like the YouTube ad revenue he gets, right? Like, most of his money he got from fucking the Fear Factor shit. He doesn't really get paid by people anymore. He just has money. Speaking of which, thoughts on the Steam policy clarification they released recently? I have not heard about that. Make an erotic visual novel? No. Personally, I like it. Mad Max PA. Mad Max is interesting because of the aesthetic, but it's not realistic at all. But it is interesting. I like Mad Max. I've always enjoyed the idea of post-apocalyptic story where the cause was something gradual and generally unnoticed until it was too late. Like Idiocracy or Wayward Pines. Exactly. That's really good. Like, I like the cataclysmic event. I mean, the cataclysmic event gives you a lot of room with sort of cultural springboarding, because a lot of culture is lost, and you can there's a sudden, very radical cultural shift. Adam McWaters, thanks for the Sanderson class recommendation last week. I'm on 10 so far. You're farther than me, man. Really good stuff. Thank you for the $5, my dude. Sanderson is absolutely genius when it comes to that. I don't like his books, though, I have found. Have you seen Isaac Arthur? He talks about Cosmos. Yeah. I am a patron of Isaac Arthur's on Patreon. I have written an Isaac Arthur fanfiction that is over 2 hours long. And he complimented my narrating voice. I have spoken to Isaac Arthur on his Discord server in voice chat, so don't... Okay. I'm an insider, basically. I think Isaac Arthur is going to be huge at some point. I'm irritated that he isn't already is. In your video about this hive mind, would you imagine it is a sort of individualist society where you can just buy new experiences, or real hive mind? Probably there would be both of those with some people. Any advice on writing post-apocalyptic? I'd love to do diesel punk post-apocalypse. Well, that's actually very interesting. But where does the fuel come from? You always have to think about that. Where does the fuel come from in this cyberpunk post-apocalyptic, in this diesel punk post-apocalyptic world? But it's certainly an interesting concept. Oh yeah, there's a long short story. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Lol, sorry, I didn't mean for it to be so dark. Basically, I was asking for bucket list. Skydiving, race car drive. Okay. Oh, I have a bucket list of things that I want to do. I do think I want to do skydiving, but maybe I don't. Possibly, because, you know, I am much more terrified of things than I would like. Like, I'm not afraid of, like, the dark or things that normal people are afraid of. I'm afraid of driving. That's what I'm afraid of. That's the kind of shit I fear. Right? I'm not afraid of being mugged in the street. I'm afraid that I will die of cancer tomorrow. You know, fucking that's what I'm afraid of. Most of my bucket list is places that I want to see, and a lot of food that I want to eat, and a lot of restaurants that I want to go. But I also have other things on there. Matoran into Toa, Toa into Taraga, Taraga into Legends. That is the way of the Bionicle. 100%, my dude. Thanks, man. I'm excited. I was actually running into that. I didn't know if it sounded unprofessional to hear it. A lot of breathing. No. It's something that amateurs do, not breathe, but professionals do it. You know, unless you have a client that doesn't know shit about Jack. You know, that's. You know. For God's sake, I just wanted to go to bed. I'm far too drunk just to hit fan. Dude, I'm gonna be off in 4 minutes, so it's no problem. Know any sci-fi stories where the Empire are good guys and the story while the rebels are the bad guys antagonists? Oh boy. I mean, you kind of have these stories by, I don't know what they're called, Edwin Buzz Aldrin. I don't know if it's the same. Did Edwin Buzz Aldrin, did he write sci-fi stories too? Did he write sci-fi novels? About Sabrel incident? Okay. Did he write science fiction? Film and television, bibliography. But I think those are not. Because there was one where there's like an empire and they fight. Just let me. Fiction by Buzz Aldrin. Encounter with time. Buzz Aldrin. Let me just check this real quick. Evidence found of intelligent alien species who visited Earth long ago and left an encyclopedia with collected knowledge of their culture. No, this is not that. This is like military sci-fi. Authors SF Encyclopedia. That's pretty good. I have to check this now, man. What did he write? Encounter with the return, reaching for the moon. Okay, I don't think no. This is not that. But I know that the writer was also called Edwin Buzz Aldrin, probably like a pen name, which is pretty shit. But I don't remember what that book is, but, you know. Stream with Stick Saxonhammer. I have resubscribed to Stick Saxonhammer because he's the most Nazi channel on YouTube who isn't actually a Nazi at all. I have never heard him say anything Nazi. I just get really irritated when he wears his leather jacket and nothing underneath. I don't think I mean, I don't know. He doesn't know me. None of, like, the big people on YouTube. I mean, there are some. It's like Nerd City, who is like I think it's a team behind Nerd City, but there's like a main guy who is super fucking cool, and he helped me out with like some YouTube shit this week that I was having problems with, because he is a genius when it comes to that kind of thing. But like all of like the big skeptic type channels, I don't know, they don't know of my existence, and even the small ones don't really. There's some that do. They're not responding to my inquiries. Oh, what the fuck? That's a bit odd, but yeah, I don't know. I might, you know, probably. If he asked, if I had the opportunity, I definitely would. Stu Mitchell said, legal and not trolling games are allowed. You complained about morals and bad ideas aren't important for us. Don't like game, don't buy it. That is probably something that I don't have the mental energy to reason out with myself right now. Ever did Molly? Is that... What is that? Molly is a thing that is a name for for ecstasy, I think, right? Because I haven't done ecstasy, I am 90% certain. Actually, I don't think I have done ecstasy. What do you think of incels? They're pretty fucking funny, let's be honest. I think the most important thing you should be afraid of in life is psychological horror, aka going freaking nuts. Don't. What was the fast food this week? What languages do you recommend someone learning? I'm already taking up French and Russian and want to learn Spanish. It's a very good, it's an easy language, it's a cool language. Learn Arabic also. I learned Arabic for a while, but I stopped and I want to start again when it's on Duolingo. So I can learn at my own pace because I can't learn shit at other people's paces. I'm 100% an autodidact. Also, the fast food today was a burger. Favorite psychological horror favorites? I'm not even into that genre very much. Yeah. Yes, Molly is what you think. Okay, it is like an ecstasy type thing. Yeah, but no, I don't think I've done it. Like, I'm like pretty sure that I haven't done it. I think I'd remember. But then there is a lot of things that I just don't remember. That just sometimes they occur to me and it's like, oh, you were almost stabbed once. Because you had an affair with a girl. You know, like fucking... I was actually almost stabbed 3 times, with 2 of those I don't think counted. Because one of them was with like in school with like a bread knife. You can't stop a guy with that. And the other one was also with a bread knife, and also I had a broom in my hand. And that's not, I don't count those as actually being almost stabbed. All that being said, I will cease the stream now. It's been going for 1 hour, as I said. I'm going to test if that works, and also, you know, it's the usual stopping time, so. Get your last questions in. Burger, what is your opinion on labels, and if you had to give yourself one, what would they be? Labels are very useful, but also they are useless. They're not useless. They're very useful, but you need to be careful that you don't define people by their labels, and that you also understand that different labels have different meanings for different people. So yeah, I do call myself a transhumanist, geo-confederalist, democratic liberal. I'm an author, man. I'm not some fucking... No, Molly is that good at old American slang for sex. No, I don't think that's true. But yeah, it's a tasty piece of meat. Okay. Thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate all of you. I am pretty fucking noodled with my head right now. I really need to get some chill. Maybe watch some Arrested Development. I actually started watching that show like the other day, and it's pretty good. You like from episode 1, you notice that the people who make that show are masters of the genre of like sitcoms. So that's pretty nice. So thank you all for watching the live stream with me. Well, actually, you didn't watch the live stream with me. I'm making the live stream. You're watching the live stream. Make sure like, comment, subscribe, Discord server, blah blah. Engage with this video, man. Please do engage. Like this video, comment on this video, engage with this video. That would be the shit, my dudes. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all, except you, Mark with a C. Mark Mikolai is okay. And see you around, cunts. Yes, I want to stop.